Seeing over a period of time with a few entrepreneurs, industrialists, and government officials, I found that everybody was talking about employability, employment, and entrepreneurship. And there is a huge hope that MSMEs, as they have been creating more jobs, they would also do in future. So that is taken idea in my mind saying that, let's talk about this because there is a hope in this and there is a future in this. So as we talk about future of work, we can't ignore the dimension of innovation is always there. Technology as an enabler is also there. When we started We Aim, we looked at manufacturing segment because somewhere we felt the employment creation in manufacturing will be higher than other segments. And we also seen that the landscape of manufacturing has very few women entrepreneurs in that. So this is another dimension we thought of when we started to put people's names in the panel for this afternoon. So I have, as Swapna has introduced, we have from T-Hub, of course the innovation dimension comes in there, and of course the latest, the startup culture which Telangana government has promoted is already visible to all of us. I also have a young entrepreneur from the manufacturing segment, and as you can see, Manasa, when she came in, she was with the phone and she was telling there is something happening at the site, and I'm responding to that. So that's the life of an entrepreneur. On my right, I have Deepti Reddy representing Agri-Tech, more from the nature-related businesses, and also she's the co-founder of We Aim. And I have Vanishri again into a business which is ancient, which is well known and which is popular now, Ayurveda. Health and wellness. So before I start talking about what else they have to contribute in this session, I would like to have a brief introduction from them itself. Instead of reading the big biodatas, I thought it's better to ask them to talk about themselves. I would go with Shanta first.
From US. I found my calling in entrepreneurship as a PhD candidate. I worked in an entrepreneurship. I simply wanted to come back. I'm from Telangana and contribute, add value to Telangana and help in building Telangana and also India definitely. So almost like I'm getting close to 2 years, I came back and I've been spearheading a lot of corporate innovation programs at T-Hub. I'll talk about T-Hub a little later, but this is what I am so far, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you guys. Thank you.
I'm Manasa. I am a BTech graduate, and then I completed my law, which are not related to what I am doing right now. I have two startups, one into manufacturing, that is flexible packaging, wherein we manufacture covers, basically above 50 microns, so that is environmentally friendly. And the other startup that I have, it's mostly into IT and hardware manufacturing. That is all about my introduction, and I would like to speak about what are the challenges and what are the limelight phase of being an entrepreneur in India.
Town-born woman where people said after your intermediate take doctor. So, but I made a choice. I have left around 4 medicine seats and I have chosen nature to be my career. It was more of an inner calling. Well, I walked a path where no one has walked before. So I was the first eco-conscious consultancy private limited in the entire country to start with. I didn't know where to start. I started with awareness, eco-consciousness building. Today I am called a serial eco-entrepreneur. I am at a stage where I have consulted 15 plus eco brands, majorly agriculture brands. I experimented a lot with lot of social experiments, women, agriculture, even touched some part of manufacturing. I have 2 or 3 renowned startups like Organic Gum, Farm Tour, AgriBase, and few more organic brands which I have established. This is briefly my eco background. And one and a half year ago, like you said, when women are more into the field and they get married and have kids, either you have a field or the home. But then I didn't want to leave both. That's when I started Women Energy Network and tried applying those principles. For me, nature and women were one and the same. Like how I operated on the field, that was how I operate in the business even today. Naturally, let it flow, things flow, solutions flow. So that's how Women Energy Strategy started. Today I am with We Aim under the mentorship of Geeta We'll discuss more along with the questions. Thank you.
As a HR, balance was the thing which actually made difference in anybody's life. So Ayurveda was my calling, where I found balance of all the, what Ayurveda speaks is about balance of all the elements in your body. So yeah, I took up this entrepreneurship just 1.5 years back, and now we are with 4 branches in Hyderabad. We are into Ayurvedic services, treating all the chronic ailments such as lower backache in natural way, in Ayurvedic therapy, basically. So thank you for this discussion. I look forward to have a fruitful discussion here. Thank you.
Having such a powerful panel, getting a gist of what they like as entrepreneurs and also supporting entrepreneurs. I have my first question to Shanta. So Shanta, the challenges are many for entrepreneurs, especially women. But innovation, I understand, plays a major role in enabling the business. Can you please throw some light on that?
So, thank you, Geeta. My favorite topic, women entrepreneurship, and the barriers as a women entrepreneur, has to come up to be successful. Women basically have a lot of barriers to overcome, not just as an entrepreneur, in life too, right? The organizational barriers and also the internal barriers. So I say women entrepreneurs, once they think as the lady, the gracious lady, she said she is an entrepreneur by choice. So I feel everybody has to think. I mean, women has to think. I want to become an entrepreneur by choice and by design. Then only we become successful, right? And innovation is an undercurrent and a process which has been going all throughout our life. It's not a new a buzzword now, but it's becoming more famous because the iPhones and the old Apple company, when it came through, this innovation is picking up a lot, and everybody is in the race and saying we are innovating, we are disrupting the space. So even women entrepreneurship is also disrupting a lot. Many women are coming into the picture saying we will run our own shop and we'll establish and we'll contribute to the economy, right? So definitely I see a lot of innovation happening in this space. We do have to kind of overcome the institutional barriers, including the investment gap. We see a lot of not just the gender equity, but also we have to look into the aspects of investment gap. There's a huge investment gap happening, and for women to overcome and become a successful entrepreneur, we have to play a crucial role, and we have to put ourselves at the table and say, hey, I'm adding value to the economy and I'm bringing more revenue for the dollar you are investing in my company. So we have to speak loud for ourselves. We have to come up with innovative ideas. Let's not play a cynical role and say okay, and not even say I'm very conservative about my ask. We do ask frequently, but we have to come up with innovative ways of asking, because when they ask, they don't consider bold assumptions and bold projections. But women has to overcome the internal barrier and say, come up with innovative ideas how should I ask very innovatively. So that is very crucial. So I think innovation is playing a part in our role at every junction. We have to pivot, we have to learn. Even students, they have to pick a lot on what's happening. Technology is changing a lot. Day before yesterday, it was all about big data mining. Yesterday, it was all about data analytics. Today, it's all about deep tech. Tomorrow, we don't know. So the technology disruption is changing every day. So it's all innovation. So that's how I see, and there are many aspects to it. T-Hub, we are backed by Government of Telangana, and we do have a business unit completely focusing on corporate innovation. Corporate innovation is the programs I run. We help corporates to disrupt by bringing relevant startups to work with the corporates. Might be very unusual, you might be thinking, but we are finding startups for corporates before the startups become successful and eat away their business. So corporates are becoming very cautious, and they are saying, wait a minute, before a startup comes in and disrupts my legacy, I will be partnering with the startup and help the startup scale up. So that's a huge win-win for both the corporate and startup. So far we spearheaded almost 14 programs with different corporates. I can name a few like Facebook, Boeing, Qualcomm, Intel. So all these big MNCs are looking towards this, what is happening in innovation, what can we do in open innovation programs. So a little bit on that flavor. So T-Hub has been playing a major role in helping startups scale up, and that too in tech-based, where the innovation is happening on day in and day out.
So yeah, I think the startup culture, which the bigger corporates are embracing, is starting their own garages and incubation centers in their facilities. That's a good sign. It's a collaborative thing. I have a question for you, Mansa. 50% of jobs are said to be from the startups. Okay, and how do young people like you are different from older generations in running a business? Is there something different in the DNA of young?
Thank you, Geeta. I would say that the businesses are the same. We add value and we make little margins, and that's how the business runs. Only the thought process has changed, and the youth are more in line with the upcoming trends, and we are more thoughtful of what the market might need, and we, with our disruptive thinking, the go-to-market time is minimal, whereas the experienced entrepreneurs who are running their business from the past 40 or 50 years, there is a time to market is very high in such organizations and under such experienced people. But at the end of the day, there is nothing that beats the experience, because we, in our race to reach the market, there are many a times we fail, because we don't think twice before we take the leap. And at the same time, there are many instances where we are so successful because we are taking that first step.
Add an important point here. So it's the DNA, but at the same time, the support the society and the parents are providing to these youngsters. Every college kid, the Center of Excellences, the tinkering labs, the kind of facilities we have right now for the new generation is helping them to think like, I would like to be my own boss. I don't want to work. And on that, they want to take risk. At the same time, the parents are allowing them to take the risk. That's a crucial thing. Like 50 years ago, that never happened, right? So it's definitely the DNA, and also the society which is kind of fostering them to think outside the box and also contribute to the economy.
Also, I would like to add one point here. The older generation, they had the team which was giving it their 100%, whereas now the ownership is lacking, and the youth that are coming into the entrepreneur, not the entrepreneurs, but who are seeking employment, they want big money, whereas they are not willing to give it their 100%. The expectation should be at match with the work output or the value add that they give. So I 100% feel that as a challenge, because there is a lot of gap in the market. There are so many people who claim they are unemployed, and we see people commit suicide because they are not finding employment, whereas we are there opening our doors, offering employment. We are not able to find the right fit candidates. And those whom we are thinking they are the right fit and we are offering them jobs, they are not giving in their 100%. So that is a big barricade, I would say, which the youth has to cross, and at the same time we are expecting some kind of support from, be it consultancies or be it from the government side, maybe where the government can have incubation centers, where so on and so forth. I believe they are already there. But it should come from the youth, basically.
So the DNA I mentioned, I think, has to have a inclusion of wisdom of the older generations, and also the honesty and courage to work with the younger generations. Thanks, Mansa. Now I have a question for you, Deepti. Several hats you are wearing. Okay, and
why did you step into entrepreneurship and taking up a job?
For me, it was the need to be needed. I wanted to be needed. That was my major drive. Yeah, and when we want to give some solutions to some things in the society, probably, it may be possible in certain jobs also, but I felt that routine jobs or working under someone may not really give that kind of solutions. So this thing is possible only in social entrepreneurship. That's how I chose my journey. Even if you see young people nowadays, they do 10 things. What are you doing? So many things. That's how they are. See, when someone asks me, yes, I say, I want to do multiple things. That's me. Like you said, Dabba wala morning, they were saying, son won't become a Dabba wala. A farmer's son doesn't become a farmer. Like that, the next generation, what are they choosing is completely different. We are nowhere like the earlier. So my motivation factor was this thing. I wanted to be needed in a different way. See, we want to balance society and economy. That's where I stepped into social entrepreneurship.
That's I think sums up on what the aspirations of youth in this country is. Entitlement and also multiple opportunities and aspirations keep growing. So I have a question for you. This is on what challenges you to continue in this business, and I know this business which is very upcoming and very I would say hard work. Of course every business has it, but this one has more. So what challenges you to continue?
Okay, did you mean challenges or motivates?
Okay, I would correct myself. Motivates you to continue in the business.
Okay, so the motivation is, of course, for any entrepreneur, it's the self-satisfaction. The satisfaction of giving a service, the satisfaction of providing an opportunity to the people, to providing an employment to the people. These all are motivators on a daily basis for an entrepreneur. And every time somebody is, if you take a satisfaction survey on a daily basis, then that's it. That only motivates you on a daily basis. And today's youth, if you see, their satisfaction or their motivation levels are different. So as an entrepreneur, we have to try to make a balance between the generations. How to scale up the satisfaction levels, or how to actually make a balance between the two generations also. Yeah, that's what motivates me as an entrepreneur on a daily basis, on what value added we have given on a daily basis. And as a owner of your own work, what is the best you have given for the day is what motivates me.
I'll add one point there. Half of them will be sitting at home if there is no challenge. For me, there is no difference between motivation and challenge. The challenge motivates us to keep going. So whenever women come up with, yes, there is no supportive ecosystem, we have to create those ecosystems. So for business, the challenge is the right motivation.
So I think when I framed the question, I was more challenging myself to frame the question. Okay, I have seen a lot of people want to jump into entrepreneurship, and somewhere I started feeling is the future of work somewhere associating entrepreneurship as a skill to be able to search for a meaning for themselves. I would like the panel's views on this. Is entrepreneurship a skill?
Entrepreneurship is multifold actually, where the person should wear multiple hats, starting from being the office boy to being the MD of a company. So it cannot be taught in any classroom, whereas maybe corporates can have a 1-year entrepreneurship internship program for the youth who want to be there, and on the job the company can also get some kind of value addition from the youth, because entrepreneurship cannot be taught in any classroom is what I strongly believe. So, other thoughts?
So pretty much echo with that, but again it changes from person to person. If one wants to learn about entrepreneurship, they can, but at the same time you have to be in their shoes. You have to kind of go through that journey. Our CEO Jay Krishnan pretty much says, you should absolutely not love anything if you want to be an entrepreneur. Definitely, like, you have to pass that nirvana stage and give up everything and say, like, I'm becoming an entrepreneur. Because once you embark on that journey, there's no looking back and coming back out of it. Either you survive and, like, make sure you coast through it and be successful. And even if many startups fail, many entrepreneurs fail, but you have to have that kind of courage to say, like, I started something, I failed and learned a lot and came back to life. But it's definitely a skill set because that changes the perception, the personality of a person. Before an entrepreneur and after an entrepreneur, like the evolution, like you will see a difference in the person's thinking capability and also the presence, whole lot of the characteristics. So I would say definitely it's a skill, and we should take more initiatives to make this skill available to all the students like who want to kind of get into advanced degrees, and this should be an opportunity for students to feel free to say like I'm becoming an entrepreneur.
That's an interesting dimension. I think institutes like MSME are already offering courses on this, so enterprises who need to equip themselves with the skills of entrepreneurship may avail of these services. So, do you want to add anything on, is entrepreneurship a skill?
Of course it is a skill. Nowadays, like the older days say business is something you sell, but it's no more like that. We are selling ideas. An idea is an enterprise today. In such an ecosystem, of course, it's more of an art. There are a lot of ecosystem challenges, things which evolve. You have to evolve with the market. You have to evolve with the generation. You have to evolve with the technology. As long as there is evolution, there is a need of skill, upgrading skill. I would say it is a dynamic skill. Rather, it's a dynamic skill. You have to keep on upgrading it. It's more like an art. You can't sell something else which doesn't fit in that canvas. You have to evolve it. Yeah.
Actually, I would also echo with most of the points what my friends have said. See, previously it used to be like a legacy business. Okay, father has done, the son will do, daughter will take up the business. But entrepreneurship as a skill has developed now because of only one reason, because the world is a market. And there are ample of opportunities out there if one has to pursue business or entrepreneurship. So definitely you can hone your skills and just go for the kill. That's what. So coming to the challenges, I see the manpower challenge being high is what you are saying. So what is the message you want to give to the youth? I want the panelists to bring in the answer because we are talking about unemployment. So what are those few things which a young person has to be equipped to get on with their economic generation?
Almost 2/3 of my life as a student, master's, PhD, bachelor's. So I would say keep, have that hunger. You want to learn every day. Otherwise, if you say you are bored, then I say like you are not open to learning. So constantly learn what exactly is happening. Think outside the box. Nowadays with AI, ML, like kind of taking away all the journalist jobs, you cannot be a journalist. You need to have your own specialization. You have to be a subject matter expert in your own subject. So become that person. And especially the youth now, in these millennials, they have a lot of opportunities to, a lot of open doors for them to walk in and say, hey, I want to do something. Like 10, 15 years ago, it was not the scenario. Like it's like only like you clear your 10+2, you get into your bachelor's, like an engineer or a master's, like something, medicine, But now, like there are multiple better options. So I would say keep updated, not just on social media, but also on like what exactly is happening in the market, where the industry is heading to. Now, government is playing a crucial role in like building the nation at state level and also national level. So keep updated, and then say like what is really good for me. Play around, tinker around. It's okay to take risk and like if you don't find yourself calling in that particular sector, you are too young to kind of say like okay, I learned something and I'm moving and pivoting and moving on to something else. So the world is yours. Just explore.
I would like to say that the youth has to be open to get their hands dirty. Only on-the-job training is the only best way of training any candidate rather than taking an experienced person who has not gotten his hands dirty earlier. So the world is a very big platform, and we are hardly, 3 or 4 of us sitting on the dais here, but there are thousands and lakhs of startups out there, and also established corporates are looking for people who have the right kind of mindset. Basically, the world is looking out for street smart people who can get the work done. As a matter of fact, I have an employee who cleared his 10th in the 3rd attempt, and without him, not even a day passes at my workplace. He is so indispensable for me. So education, it's just on the paper, whereas what you are and what you ought to be is all in your hands.
I'll just change the question a little bit for you too, because we talk about women, and somewhere I read that the educated women numbers in India is almost equal to some countries' population. So where are we missing the link? I would like you to answer that. Why are they not in part of the economy if they are so educated?
Coming to women, we are doing so many roles in a day, and I feel that youth, they are not being guided properly to take up something as their life ambition or a goal. We are so stuck up with our own, even the parents, because nowadays everybody, even both of them are busy making their careers. So there's no proper guidance to the child from the childhood to a person when he wants to take up something in his or her life. He ends up getting confused. I found that India is the only place, or maybe in our education system, we decide what to do in our life after a B.Tech or a BA. Okay, so that has become a norm, and of course now the trends are changing, and we need to change the trends on a very war footing basis. That's what I feel. That's why women are also, being educated. There is no proper guidance to take up a career or a, entrepreneurship as a career also.
Like you said, yes, the educated woman. I recently read an example, 2 tribal women, they sold custard apples. They formed a cooperative and it was like 10 crore turnover per month, something that kind of story. Why then so many educated women? I will consider women and youth both, okay, so many educated women. Why are they not able to do certain things? Maybe our education itself has gone somewhere wrong. While we are being educated, something is not addressed by brick. So this is the main reason, so that later on, another thing is mindset. We have to tune the mindsets. We have to tune our mindsets. For example, if there are young entrepreneurs, start it young, let them start it young. It doesn't matter, you fail 10 times, how does it matter? Start it the 11th time. So I always tell, even the message for the young entrepreneurs or whatever, women especially, keep going. When no one believes you, exactly at that point when you believe in yourself, you are an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter if you commercially succeed or not, it will happen when no one believes. So the same thing, mindset problem in the urban educated youth especially, because everything came to the plate, right? Considering that half of the urbanites educated are in urban segment, everything is in your plate. For a village woman, she has to go and get to her plate. So this is the difference. So as long as we get everything on the plate, it will be okay. So you have to break your comfort zone, come out.
So just as a concluding remark, what is it you expect from the government? All 4 of you are from varied sectors. So is there something, I know Telangana government is doing extremely well on support, enabling and scaling up. Is there something you still feel that government should do? Very interesting question. How many people are from government here?
Okay, whatever we say here will stay here. Okay, just kidding. So, having lived in US for 15 years and coming back, I took the decision of coming back like in split of seconds. But 2 years later, I'm still amazed by the work, the changes, the development happened in our state and also overall in India. So many initiatives to kind of foster women entrepreneurship. Telangana state is way ahead of other states because 29 states right now we have, and states and new east. The central government, Startup India is trying to give state startup ranking. Every state will be given a rank based on how the ecosystem is built and sustainable. So right now Telangana is in a position to advise other states. So we had 11 states coming to T-Hub, and we conducted 2 days workshop for those guys to understand how to build an ecosystem, startup ecosystem. So we are doing everything right, and eventually we will be given a rank saying 29 states out of 29 states where Telangana is placed. When we were doing the assessment on how we will be placed, one thing we fell short is the funding, the availability of funding by government to the startups. If we can improve, if we can kind of shell more money into that, because government is already backing a lot of initiatives, not just for T-Hub. We have a state innovation cells, and we launched the V-Hub very recently, right? So they are doing everything, but it won't happen overnight. The change has to be a continuous and a step-by-step process. I won't say we need particularly these things, but there are many things coming up. So let's look at the positive side. And again, the money and the funding will definitely come into the picture. Another biggest barrier for women entrepreneurs is investment, because stereotypic thinking saying like women are not technical, women don't do bold projections. So based on that, not many investors would be investing in women entrepreneurs. So if government can step in and say, if VC, suppose if VC comes in and say, we are investing in you, and at the same time government backing is there, then more credibility will be provided to entrepreneurs definitely.
The government has to make the field level, basically. I mean, it should level the playing field for all the entrepreneurs, be it women or men or across all the areas. And maybe by providing mentorship and availability of funds for women would definitely add more entrepreneurs to coming to this side of the line. And I'm very happy that the government is doing as much as it can, as it could, basically. And I am also one of the receiver of one such government land. So I am very happy with the way that Telangana government is functioning, and it is offering the various kinds of campaigns or like the fund facilities, everything. And I'm also benefited by the T-Hub, TSI pass, single window operation. Earlier it used to be a dreadful job to get the signatures from so many officials, whereas now I am the receiver, and I am saying that it's 100% single window operation there. And maybe we can advocate more of the offerings which are offered to educate more people who want to become entrepreneurs, so that the government, whatever the government is spending and splurging on, those will reach the right candidates. And one thing where I can expect more is maybe reducing some kind of tax exemption for the startups, and some reduction in the capital machinery prices, or maybe something like that will definitely increase the number of entrepreneurs in the state. Thank you.
I think there's only one government official and she is making a note of this.
One viewpoint is yes, there are already existing schemes, be it state government or central government. It is our citizens' responsibility also to use certain things. But as far as a woman entrepreneur's point of view, I would say that yes, there is a need for government to address certain things like we are still at 17% GDP. For example, in Telangana, even before funding, how many people are funded? Even before offering the land, 50 acres in each SEZ, how many people are really ready to avail such kind of land? A lot of women are not yet entrepreneur ecosystem ready. If we can focus on this dimension, 50% of the population are women and 60% almost of them are idle at home. See, if manufacturing could change China's GDP economy, they're the number one now. Can't it change our economy? So we should focus more on manufacturing for women. That's where government has to focus now. It's a need of the time, at least in Telangana state, where we have a lot of idle women human resource. I can say there's a idle potential innate lying there. And yes, here we cannot operate at individual level. Government has to tie with different entities, associations, operate at infrastructure level, at training level, at whatever, providing all those things is integrating them with technology, need and all those things, but not to overemphasize on the technology. If really we can focus, women make excellent manufacturers. Take any case today, I always tell that Tupperware model, take any model in the world, self-help groups, microfinance, women are good repairs, women are good entrepreneurs, they create happy economy. So if we can focus on making women manufacturers, yes, it is need of the time, high time I would say. If they don't pitch in, it will be too late. I can say we are already late. So.
Yeah, I couldn't agree for more what my friends have said. I would like to add here one more. As per my experience, there's an important point that whatever the information, the schemes, the related projects government is taking up for entrepreneurship, that's not reaching the common person. So as an entrepreneur, I came to know about certain things after 1.5 years. You know, after setting up and doing all those things, I came to know about some schemes which are there that would have helped me in the initial phases itself. Although here I am talking about the reach of the government schemes digitally. You know how fast a news spread, but that has to happen at this level where everybody knows about what government is offering to an entrepreneur. Then that benefits. More people can take it easily. That's what. Unless and until somebody is seeking for support, they are only knowing about it. But what if many people knows about? Okay, this thing is there. This thing is. So somebody might really take a genuine help in the right time. That's what. Thank you.
There is a saying apparently, when you add women to an equation, then everything looks and works beautifully. So I would say probably government should add more women into policy making. I don't know how many women are working on that. I have no idea. I haven't, did some research. Maybe Vatsala can help us. If they can put more women into policy making, probably they can think, they can bring more, they can think innovatively, definitely, and then make the whole system more beautiful and gorgeous.
Thanks for bringing that point. Policy making. I've been reading lot on gender budgeting. So the 12th five-year plan on industrial reorganization. And I find that the mention of women is negligible in that. Women as a category was only mentioned in the procurement policy related matters, that too inside the 4%. So somewhere we missed the bus. Even in the thinking level, we have missed the bus, and it's time that we talk about it. And if the 13th five-year plan is coming up, I would like women to be involved in the policy making. That would help us to have a better, what you call the differentiator in the economy as well. So as I conclude this session, wonderful inputs you have given us, I would like to leave it with VP. Also talk about the role of an association. Why are so many women associations getting formed? What are they achieving out of it? And where are we going with the association? Why do we need association at all?
Maybe maybe I start with myself. My problem, when I was a startup, I didn't know what is a balance sheet when I started my first company. Today the story is different. So my problem made me create my this thing. So when I thought, okay, let me give the solution. A lot of associations also come up with one or the other mission. They try to, someone want to address the market, someone want to address the whatever the reasons. But where are we going is a real challenge, because now they're popping up, like women associations. But what I suggest is, if public sector can work together with these kind of associations, it will be good. They will be channelized also. Also, whatever government wants, it will be achieved. Suppose, I really thank Mr. Sanjay Chaturvedi garu. NIMSME'S, they came forward to support us. Then only we thought, okay, we have a support now. We can work on some things. At least this kind of, we have to work together. There is no way. You can't do things alone. I can't do things. Government can't do alone. NGO can't do alone. So this is the situation. Also, yeah, we have a long way to go. We have to keep going. Like our side, we can tell that even before, I already have mentioned this, ease of doing business, there is a need how to start a business. We have to address that level first. So on behalf of our association, Women Energy Association of Incubators and Manufacturing, we are the first of its kind in the country by women for women. Though that is a generally used slogan, it is really by women for women manufacturers. We want to address two levels, static, scale it. Actually, we wanted a PPT, but it's already too late, and so that's at a static level. For example, okay, idea the market validity unda leda. How is my idea valid in the market? From there she has to start, right? And how to register, then how to trademark, how to protect your IPR, next where to go for the next scheme. So we will have a start itself, probably with NIMSME only, where everything should be a one-stop solution. Like right from registration until the brand is launched and hand-holded in the market. This is start itself for me, in my view. So some people think, yeah, my product is good, my idea is good. After 3 years, I realized 4 of my businesses are not good. Only one was in the 5, and it happens like that. So this support is needed. So we will have a mentor panel, probably something like Idea Tuesday. Throughout a day, when women discuss ideas with the relevant knowledge people, let them link both of them, link the knowledge base with the, this is what we will do at the start itself. Next, scale itself, like someone like Manishri. It's a wonderful Ayurvedic brand, wellness brand. See, her 1,000 crore industry, man. She's still at 1 crore or 2 crore. Why not 100 crore? Because she has everything ready. She doesn't have the right strategy at the right time, or probably some people right funding at the right time, So that's where we need that time when she loses 10 brands compete her and she's out of the market. Though she has started well, nothing was wrong in Nokia. Was something wrong in Nokia? It didn't have all. Example, I'm telling you. Sometimes we're ruled out in the market without no reason of ours. So this kind of thing is called scale it, acceleration. For me, acceleration is at 3 different levels. Sometimes strategy, not always funding. Sometimes strategy, sometimes funding. So this we call scale itself. Maybe, see, I may be only experienced in one industry because of my Facebook, my knowledge. Like there are many people experienced in many industries. Let's just aggregate them, put them there. What do you think needs to be closed for investment? Do we need so much big infrastructure? No. Sometimes an investor closes at a coffee table also, if there is potential in the idea, if there is seriousness in the investor and the entrepreneur. Let's link them both. This is what we will be trying to do. Let's bring potential networks and potential entrepreneurs, make them sit over a coffee table. If it is worth it over, the thing is done. So this is scale itself for me. So yeah, on behalf of our association, this year we will be focusing on these two things. We work with NIMSME. One more, other parties, sustainable businesses. For me, I am more into the eco part. Otherwise also, the future is all about how sustainable all your businesses are. We will also address that part, where 60% of the women are still in rural areas, in the towns. Even today, BD is giving 3.6 like livelihood. After ITC, do you think there is an alternative in Telangana for livelihoods or new entrepreneurship? Just please quote me if it is no. Why are there not even 30 industrialists in 30 years in Telangana? Women, not husbands in businesses, women put directors on board, not that kind of entrepreneurs. Where are the real entrepreneurs in the women? So if you want to nurture this, you have to focus more on green capacity building, rural entrepreneurship kind of models, rural innovation. That we can do from here also. Announcing the right kind of programs, workshops, train them, let them do from the very home. See, even cow dung, did anyone imagine Amazon will sell cow dung one day? Pidkala Amazon. So how does it matter? So the many things which can be done at home. If such kind of innovative things we start training, training, not the routineness. How many years we will be telling about sewing machines? I'm fed up, my mother did the sewing machine. Okay, so I'm telling how many years we will be talking about such kind of models. Let's innovate that which helps the rural economy. These two things we want to address on behalf of our association. Also, I request all other associations also who are telling we are coming. Women empowerment has become more of a fashion word, or it is used for branding majorly. No, please, really there is a need of women empowerment. So already empowered women should think about this and start working in this line. Government also, we don't need Ivanka to come and tell us about women empowerment. We don't need exactly that time roads. No, please, every day, every woman is empowered. She's already empowered. Just tune her into something. So my request from associations, government, everyone, take one idea, work on it consistently. Yes, we are going to. If you have 10 stories, like morning he was mentioning, एक आदमी होता है जो believe करता है God है. Morning the Baba was saying, enough for us, right? So there will be one woman, I got a message one night, I'm alive because of women magic. That keeps me going on. If every association works like this, at least for few women, yes, we will reach that level. Thank you.
Yeah, so the association's motto is each one of us should reach some of them who need to be brought into the mainstream. Thank you, excellent panel here, and thank you, excellent audience. I would open the session for a few questions before we wind up for the day. I know it's a long day for all of us. Swapna, you want? Questions? Any questions? Recently, I went to a remote village in Medak, and this was because I had to go and buy a woolen blanket, which is a hand-woven woolen blanket, and very few people are doing in this Telangana region. And it comes from a sheep which is Deccani sheep, which is only bred in the Telangana area. I had to search, and I went to this place, and I found this lady who is a farmer. She has 1 acre land. And the first thing when she got to know that I came from Hyderabad, she just yelled at her 2 sons, called them over, and they were well-clad, urban lads, looking lads, not rural lads, so jeans and t-shirts and all. I'm not talking about their dressing, but they looked educated. So she said, you came all the way for this woolen blanket, it's a dying art, after me nobody does this, but 2 of my sons are engineers, okay? Now I want you to get jobs for these 2 people. And I'm looking at her, I'm not looking at her sons. She's already empowered, she has 2 sons educated, okay, and she could have been an entrepreneur in woolen blankets, but she missed the opportunity all these years. Nobody traced her and found her. I would give more marks to empowerment than comes to entrepreneurship. If you are empowered, you find from the ecosystem and bring an enterprise out of it. In this case, what was glaring for me is lack of employment. She toiled her entire life to educate two sons, and today they are not employed. So the larger looming thing is, even if women are empowered, they are not shouting high and big, saying that our sons need jobs. They are still working. I think empowerment takes this. Yes, can you pass it on?
All of the family all together, right? Financials. What is income coming in, what is going out, we're all there already. But empowerment is another thing which we have to kind of break all the barriers and kind of self-motivation, take that motivation and say I'll get empowered by myself, but at the same time society should also help her, the ecosystem, and if that can also be empowered, then it's a cycle. We have to break that vicious cycle and come out, and definitely. So we are entrepreneurial already, so we need a little bit of more empowerment, and that comes naturally. In a bit, probably next generation it will be all out.